Okay, we had the new parts come through from the factory. We'll get them on the car ahead of FP1.
I should hope so, Carl. I should really hope so. Welcome back to the F1 2018 Career Mode. You join me for part number 3 at the Chinese Grand Prix, and we've had our first batch of upgrades come to the car. We're flicking through the email there. It sounded pretty positive from Carl. Normally, from what I've seen, he's pretty downbeat if any have failed, but 3 completed, 3 successful upgrades. 1 to the powertrain, 1 to the aero, 1 to the chassis. You see it all there. So, a slight bit more power, slight bit more rear downforce, and slight bit more on the rear. So now we can spend the resource points that we've racked up. So we're going to go the second one on the powertrain, down to the aero. I did debate heavily about going for more rear downforce, but initially I don't know, the Williams after that first upgrade, we'll see how it goes. In the it was most apparent in Australia that I needed it. It wasn't too bad in Bahrain, so let's even it out with a bit of front downforce, and then just looking at it here, seeing what we can do. We've got 601 resource points, so we can get another minor upgrade. Do we go for a weight distribution upgrade, or do we go for another weight reduction? Gone with the weight reduction there, because
we'd like to welcome you from wherever in the world you join us today for this F1 qualifying session here in Shanghai, China.
by practice I meant qualifying. I am brilliant when it comes to words. Anyway, hot lap mode, rich max fuel mixture. And this is going to be the fastest lap we're going to perform all weekend. Into turn 1, light bit of braking down to 7th, down to 5th, just balancing throttle and brake there, just occasionally pushing the car around. Let it slowly come in the long apex there, and then down the hill. Try and keep it as tight as you can, but not too tight. That hampers your acceleration there on the power. Hartley first to set a lap with a 36 flat. We're going to come across the split any second now. We're a 10th and a bit up on Brendan Hartley. So there we go. It's now the middle sector where the Williams falls down. Hamilton setting the pace there with a 33.3. So that's the target laid down by the big boys. We're not going to get anywhere near that. But what can we do as we go through the long left-right section? The front just drifted wide. Just as it was starting to come in, it then drifted wide again. I had to wait to get on the power. Then through the double left-hander car, running slightly wide over the curb, hampered my acceleration. Across the second split we come, and we're only half second down on Hamilton's time. So the car really hooked up and really working. Rotated it nicely over that little blip of the hill. Had to slightly get out of the throttle for the long right-hander, but unlike what a lot of cars appear to happen, I could go flat through there. The Williams seemed surprisingly planted, considering our aero and chassis, but we drop it down to overtake mode for the back straight, as that will give us more maximum top-end speed, as we see hitting 210 miles an hour briefly, as we brake just before the 100-meter board. Kiss the apex beautifully for the hairpin. Then back to hot lap mode to come out of the corner exit, as it gives us more acceleration. We've actually run out of deployment as we come through the final corner, but the line's not too far down. DRS open, we come across the line, and it's a 34 flat, only 7/10 slower than Lewis Hamilton. I was like, I'm impressed with that lap. Obviously, you know, the top guys improved a bit more, but only 1.4 off the pace, which I didn't think was that bad at all, and a full second and a half quicker than Stroll.
Good day today. Tell us about it from your perspective. It's been a great qualifying session for you. Are you going to carry that momentum into the race?
That's essentially the plan, and I feel a bit cocky about it, given the result.
It's the start of the season. How do you think things are going to go for you?
Give the honest answer here, you know, just talk about how good the team has been so far. So, bit of showmanship, bit of sportsmanship, nice down the middle.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Ever since the Sauber of Felipe Massa passed Jenson Button into turn 1 at the very first Chinese Grand Prix in 2004, Shanghai has consistently provided close racing and extraordinary memories. It's where Lewis Hamilton effectively lost the title in his rookie year, and it's where Nico Rosberg claimed Mercedes' first win of the modern era in 2012. We start a lap here at Shanghai with the long, difficult right-handers of turns 1 and 2, the first of 16 corners that make up this 3.3-mile circuit. The incredibly long back straight provides the best passing opportunity of the lap, with speeds in excess of 200 miles per hour before the braking zone of turn 14. Joining me for today's race once again is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about the captain. As with all the drivers at this level, they have a lot of ambition. But Formula One's a daunting step up from any other series, so expectations are high right from the start.
And this is something that has ended the career of many a young driver, as that leap up to Formula One proves to be too much. But luckily in this case, I'd say they're doing a good solid job, and the risk the team took in signing them is definitely starting to pay off.
Thank you for the kind words, Anthony Davidson. So, interestingly enough, we find ourselves inside the top 10 for our qualifying. So that means we have to start on these ultra soft tyres. And round China, it does jump from ultra soft, soft to medium. So I initially had a look to see if the tyres could make it. And after a brief bit of analysis, I realised that that was not going to work. So a two-stopper here today as we build to the lights for the Chinese Grand Prix. Lights are out and away we go. A very long hold there, but straight up into rich and hot lap mode. It's been an okay start. Definitely the best one of the season so far as Magnussen's attacked us down the inside. We're going to take a wide line through turn one. Try and stay out of trouble from the inside. Hulkenberg and Alonso going side by side. We're going to come down the hill. Fight for our position. Just keep ahead of Magnussen. So we haven't lost anything, but we haven't gained anything. Alonso and Hulkenberg go slow out of that left-hander. We appear to be gaining on them as we come down towards the hairpin of 6. We're going to take it to the inside line. Sainz looking very slow as well, and we look to be the most prepared out of anyone to go straight down the inside of 3 cars and up into 6th position there. Best of the rest, behind the big boys. In fact, someone is down the field slightly. It looks to be one of the Red Bulls of Ricciardo. Not too sure where he is there, but yeah, we found ourselves very out of position for a Williams, but an excellent start for us nonetheless. I'm harvesting some ERS in the early stages of the laps. I want to try and use it to defend down the long straight, and Sainz is going to try and take advantage of that as we come into the final sector. Let's hang him out to dry on the outside. Give him a little bit of room, try and be a little bit more respectful. But as we now go around the long right-hander, and here we go, Rich dropping down to standard mode. Are we going to bump it up on ERS? No, we're going to go Rich. I think I've forgotten about it. Looking back at the history here, because Sainz is in the slipstream. DRS, of course, not active for this lap, but he's taking a look around. Both Renaults are looking to attack, mate, and I've gone deep into the final corner, actually. So I was trying to defend my position from the Renault. As such, Sainz comes across and clips my front wing, actually. I'm glad to think I haven't got any damage. Vettel appears to be leading the way there, and we get a warning for that collision with Sainz. We now split the Renault drivers here, so Sainz up to 6th. Now we up our ERS deployment there, as Hulkenberg has a potential sniff into turn 1. Can we hold it all the way around the outside? That's essentially the intention. Hulkenberg's got his nose in. Can we look to dive it down the inside of 2? A little bit reckless. There's something about being more respectful. I don't know. But anyway, Alonso has taken advantage of that opportunity, and we are down to P7, but that is still a fantastic position for us to be in. By the end of lap 4, our ultra soft tyres have had enough. We're coming in same lap as Hulkenberg, actually, so we defend the inside line into the pit lane of all places there. We've got a Ferrari and a Mercedes in, take it nice and delicate. I could have attacked the line much more there, but once again, I'm just being very cautious about these penalties, especially if I find myself in such a lofty position. I can't be affording too much time lost. But 2.4 by the Williams boys, a fantastic pit stop, and that's going to feed us out right down the order, because everyone at the back is, of course, going to have started on either soft or medium tyres, as now Alonso comes through. So I think he came in the previous lap, and he's now undercut both of us. So, yeah. Well, obviously a long-term play. We've got 2 stints of 12 laps left on the soft compound tyres for the rest of the Grand Prix. And we'll see how that goes. Alonso, by the end of lap 5, has caught up to some traffic up ahead. So we're now on standard and medium deployment there, as Sainz comes out the pit lane a long way ahead of us. So that extra lap or 2 has really worked out for Carlos Sainz there. But now Alonso held up behind Grosjean. The door is wide open, and we're just going to go, thank you very much. Just casually glide our car down the inside there and take 2 paces up into P16. And now Stroll is battling Marcus Ericsson down here. Stroll, of course, I would assume he's going to be on a 1-stop from soft to mediums, where we, of course, are on the 2 because we've had to start in the top 10. We're so far on for a personal best. This is our first lap in, like, our first full lap out of the pits in fresh air-ish, but we've encountered some traffic. So what can we do versus Lance Stroll here? He appears to be going okay through the middle sector, but look, he just looks very slow through this right-hander. And I'm now just going to let the car drift out, accelerate past him, take the inside line, and sorry, Lance, that's my position. I think it's clear to show here who has been the best performer for this team after our point in Australia and a solid result in Bahrain, but still no points, still both times ahead of our teammate. And here we go, up into overtake mode. We're not going to waste any time getting past Marcus Ericsson here in the Sauber. We're going to come from a long way back. Hopefully Ericsson sees me. He does at the very last minute. Turns out the corner. Thank you very much, Marcus. That's up to P14 now. And again, all the cars ahead of me appear to be slower. It's nice to be on the attack for once. This car felt very good here around China as we now sit in the slipstream of Stoffel Vandoorne. Personal best lap time of a 40 flat. We can go faster than that once we get into clear air, which is exactly what we are now. Once we pass Vandoorne into turn 1, and now we've got a good amount of life left in the tyres, good amount of deployment, good amount of fuel. Let's try and get after Sainz as he once again appears to be caught up in traffic. So here we go, we're going to come to the end of the lap. Sainz has cleared the traffic, we're extending the track a little bit, but we're going to come across the line to a 39.1. That's nearly a second improvement there, as we're now closing down on the Toro Rosso of Pierre Gasly and the other Sauber of Charles Leclerc. And I've just got a bit of dirty air there, so I've had to go wide, but we're going to go up to rich and overtake mode, and let's try and get the gap closed down to these two, because essentially, like I've said, I believe they are running a one-stop, and that means I need to get ahead of them and build a bit of a gap, because as it currently stands, we've all got a pit stop left to make, and we'll finish out the points, which isn't what I want, considering when we were running in the lofty heights of 6th. So use most of our ERS on the back straight, so I'm going to drop it down to low, continue to use rich mix for now to try and close up on them. That's Sainz back in the pits. Did he run? He ran a set of ultra softs. Is Sainz on a 3-stop? That's a very odd strategy for the Renault, because he would have been right up there. But anyway, we're now up behind Pierre Gasly. We're going to try and stick our nose in the inside. Gasly's got that all covered off though, so, you know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. But Gasly there definitely had the edge on us. So Leclerc up into 9th, Gasly 10th. We are P11, and we're going to try and get past these two guys, because I do have the feeling we are faster. And just up the road there, I believe to be the other Toro Rosso of Brendan Hartley. So now we're on rich mix, high fuel mixture. We have remained in DRS on this lap. We're going to have that open now as the rear flap of our rear wing. Drop it down to medium. Use the slipstream to pull us along. Can we try and pass Gasly into the hairpin coming from a long way back? And Gasly once again, just like Vandoorne, just about sees us there. And we get through up into 11th place, into the points. And now we chase after Charles Leclerc. I'm all over the place this commentary. Apparently 11th place is points. I do apologise. So we've got plenty of fuel left, as Jeff is telling us. Are we going to use that to pass Leclerc, or are we going to try and harvest the RS up? Because I get the feeling, like I said, these guys are going to get an undercut on me when they come into the pits as we go wheel to wheel with Leclerc. We've had to be very aggressive and get our elbows out in some of our overtakes here. We're going to have to use that because, of course, we are going to be pitting afterwards. These are going to be on fresher tyres and perhaps maybe undercut us back for position later on. So we move on to lap 12. Hartley is the car ahead of us there. So I was just confirming the strategy of the cars around me, which is what I thought to be, and indeed Hartley actually came in at the end of that lap. So we're going to bump it up to rich and high. Now we're going to start pushing as Perez comes in, also appearing to be on a one-stop strategy, and I would assume Esteban Ocon, who's up there on the soft tyre, is going to be doing the exact same thing. I think Ocon's ever so slightly out of our lead as Stroll comes in. He's lost a lot of time to us in that second phase of the stint there, but that is Stroll's first pit stop of 1, I would imagine. Don't know what damage he can do, but anyway, by lap 15, we're up again, running in 6th place, where we were earlier on in the Grand Prix, ahead of both Renaults now. We're going to turn it down as we've used a lot of our fuel and used a lot of our ERS, so we're going to bring it down. And we're going to be looking to come in at the end of this lap. Here's Max Verstappen now up behind us after his pit stop. We're just going to drop it into lean, no ERS mixture, try and make the overtake as efficient as possible while trying saving up a bit of the battery, because we're not battling Verstappen today. He's already made his final pit stop. Don't really want to be costing him or myself any kind of time. So we're going to dive into the pits, end of lap 16 here. And just take it nice and easy. Not racing anyone to the pit lane this time around. Hulkenberg also comes in, as he did with us on the first time of asking. But we've gained a few seconds on him on that stint. I think he didn't handle the traffic as well as I did. Perez goes through on his one-stop strategy. And this is going to be Esteban Ocon also coming through again on the one-stop. So we now come out of our box. We're currently in 9th. Here comes Brendan Hartley, as I mentioned there. So he has, of course, made his one and only stop. We're going to feed out behind him, as we were running earlier on in 9th place. And no one else comes past us. We're well clear of Gasly, Sainz, Leclerc, that lot. So we've made our final pit stop of the Grand Prix, and we're up in 9th place. And hopefully we can run. Gasly's been on those tyres for 4 or 5 laps now, so the freshness is going to be gone on them. This is lap 18. This is going to be our first full lap out the pits. Again, pushing the absolute limits of grip. What's the lap time, though? It's a 37.8. That's our personal best lap of the Grand Prix. The gap to Hartley down to 2.7 seconds. Hulkenberg is closing in, though. He's only 2 seconds behind me, and he is also on soft tyres, so it's a fair fight between myself and Hulkenberg. But Gasly now is in a slightly, arguably slower car, and definitely slower and more worn tyres. So here we go then, end of lap 20, through the final corner. Brendan Hartley, I've got DRS and Slipstream versus him. I've also got Nico Hulkenberg in my mirrors, but we're closer to Hartley than Hulkenberg is to us. We're going to dive down the inside of turn 1, very high speed, initially hesitated. Hartley gave me the room, and that's all the invitation I needed to lunge one down the inside, and that is us up into P8 at the Chinese Grand Prix. Still a position up on where we started there. By the end of lap 22, Hulkenberg is up behind me, and I'm losing a little bit of grip in these tyres. Hulkenberg is in the slipstream. I think he might also have a bit more engine power and battery than me as he tries to surge past me. We come across on the straight there to try and defend very late, but not in the braking zone, so well within the rules of Formula 1, and we're going to try and hold it round the outside of the hairpin. Beautifully executed there. Get the better exit than Hulkenberg, and this is going to be a fight to the end of the Grand Prix with Carlos Sainz also closing in as he appears to be battling Hartley there for 10th place. So is Hulkenberg going to try and have another run to us on this shorter straight into turn 1? Doesn't appear to, but he definitely gets close enough. So now as we run through lap 23 here, again running wide through the double left-hander. See, Hulkenberg's actually gone wide in our mirrors there, and then it throws up a yellow flag. Hulkenberg's pulled off on the side of the road for some reason. Not too sure what's happened with Nico there. Let's get a replay of him. So he's come through the corner. He's taking it better than us, arguably going to get a better exit, then caught in some dirty air, and then just goes very slow. If you remember a few years back, that was a controversial curb in the Chinese Grand Prix. A drain cover had come up and had shredded some tyres. I wonder if that happened to Hulkenberg, but he definitely fell out of the points. And what happened with Sainz is he fell up my inside line, yeah, see what I did there, into turn 6 of lap 25. He's passed Hartley, and it's now Sainz attacking me. He wasn't actually able to get through on that occasion, but you can just see here my tyres just aren't performing very well. Sainz's tyres are older than mine, but I've just shredded mine trying to keep up a fast pace. I was going to try and close down Esteban Ocon if I could, but that definitely is not going to happen as we now try to hold it to the outside, then to the inside. It's the same move we made on lap 2, and it's lap 25. So this has been a race-long battle between myself and the Renaults of tactical play. And now we come down the back straight. Is Sainz going to use extra fuel mixture and extra battery? If he is, I'm going to try and counteract it with overtake mode. But Sainz definitely got the pure DRS and slipstream. He's well ahead as we go into the braking zone. Again, we're going to make our classic late move. Sainz doesn't turn out the corner like the others did, but he did give me enough room to get through, thankfully. So we move on to lap 27. There's now a different car and a different driver behind me. For the first time this Grand Prix, it's Daniel Ricciardo in the Red Bull, and he's trying a very similar move to what Sainz did just a couple of laps ago. We're going to once again, I don't care if you're in a faster car or a better driver, still going to hang you out to dry on the exit of that chicane. But now we're going to pull across to the right very early to try and break the slipstream. Ricciardo doesn't follow us. We haven't got much battery to play with, so I need to leave it in medium and hope that he's paying more attention to Sainz than he is himself as I move across to the right-hand side again to defend from Sainz. So there's been some clout from behind. I don't know if that's Ricciardo hitting Sainz or Ricciardo hitting me, but either way, we've squeezed Sainz out on the exit. Ricciardo and Sainz still side by side through the final corner. Who's going to muscle who out? It appears to be Sainz muscling Ricciardo out of the way, but we're going to come around for the final time. Squirt the power towards the line. It's P8 and huge points in China.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
And as we can see, it's time for the podium, and as the drivers make their way out, there's a familiar red suit making its way to the top step. Fantastic win for Ferrari.
So there we have the Chinese Grand Prix. Vettel leads home Hamilton and Raikkonen to the podium. Bottas and Verstappen. Then Perez and Ocon pulling off the one stop to get 6th and 7th. We bring it home 8th, over a minute behind, with Sainz and Daniel Ricciardo rounding out the top 10 there. But yeah, Sainz on that 3-stop. Very weird strategy. Nearly worked out for him for 8th place, but he still fell from that 6th place on the grid that he had, and we, of course, climbed one up from 9th. Ricciardo started 16th. He must have had an engine penalty, because I obviously qualified 10th, so I was promoted to 8th by him. Lance Stroll ended up down in 16th. The one stop not working out for him. But that race puts us into 10th in the Drivers' Championship, tying with Alonso on 5 points. So now we're going to try and continue this momentum. We're back in the points. It goes to show Australia wasn't necessarily a fluke. Excuse me, Williams tied with McLaren now on a points basis of 6th and 7th. But yeah, like I said, just try and keep a bit of momentum going into the next few rounds, because it goes to show, like I said, that points finish wasn't a fluke.
Good day today. Tell us about it from your perspective. Your team must be ecstatic with how you're performing. It was more like dodgems than Formula 1 today, wasn't it?
It's a little bit rude. I just get the elbows out a little bit, but I'm just going to say it here, they were just friendly nudges. I mean, I don't see why that decreases rep.
Appreciate your time.
I had to be a bit aggressive with some of my overtakes, yeah, give it that. But come on, Claire, get in my car and you do better. You get 8th place. Forgot my finishing position here. You get 8th place round China with a 2018 Williams. You're going to see my rep increases quite nicely with every team, clearly showing that I'm earning the respect of the paddock, which is exactly what I want. As, of course, we are going to eventually look elsewhere. You know, I don't really want Williams to be my home forever. I said it before. McLaren was the Road to Glory career that I did last time. Don't really want to do that again. But guys, if you did enjoy, please leave a like on the video. And if you want to be kept up to date with the content that comes to the channel, please hit subscribe and enable them notifications. Next time out, it's going to be Azerbaijan, my most hated circuit. So we'll see how we perform there. I'll see you all next time.